Pastor Saint Tyrone coming from the forward part two of the first video. A beautiful song that hit my Amazon music, which is phenomenal, is from Master KG, and it's a title called I Am Sorry by Noxie K and Nozana's Daughter. It's a beautiful South African beat, but it is completely from America. So what I said in my previous video about how American music, American black music, American black young music, which is controlled by white people. Now let's make that clear. All the people that own American companies, the ones that have all the money, are not Africans, okay? They're not African Americans, okay? They're Europeans. But as I stated, the money, it is big. Electronic dance music, which came out about maybe 30 years ago. I remember hearing it way back in the early 90s. EDM is what they call it in America. You can look it up, EDM. Is what this is coming to South Africa. And one of the songs, which I can't play due to copyright, is called I'm Sorry. So if you go and look up I'm Sorry, this is what you'll find. It is a phenomenal hit. The individuals that are in the video, this black sister right here that's on the cover of this video, that's who she is, right? European blood in her because white people had took over and had intermingled with blacks. So that's why she is not dark-skinned and true Hebrew like I am. But she has less Hebrew in her because of more European. I only have 3% European, but there are people in Africa that have 40% European, 50% European, and more, right? So the more you intermix, the more hybrid you become, the more negative consequences you get. Sorry, but that's just the word of God. Study the Old Testament. So I talked about this video that this girl did on her new hairstyle 3 months ago, and 12,000 people have viewed it. It's a little short, 12,000 people. She took and went and did the typical, we call it a fake weave. In America, that's exactly where it came from. You can take a woman and put a stocking cap on her head and then put over after about 6-7 hours of chemicals and crap, and you can make her have a hairstyle that looks like a European from Europe, from wherever. And where did this hair come from? India, right? India, not China. It comes from India. They sell it to Africa and America like for billions. We're talking billions of dollars are being made off this. And I said in the previous video that this is what we see in America every day, especially those that are looking. Now, a lot of blacks, again, we're only 40 million of us, 20 million male, 20 million female, and then you got those in the middle trying to be caught up in homosexual LGBTQ crap. But the reality is that God has a judgment on our peoples. The million of us in Africa, as well as the 40 million of us in America. And that judgment is Deuteronomy chapter 28, okay? And it's been going on since it was proclaimed by Moses thousands of years ago, and it's happening right now to this day. Some of us who are enlightened are willing to tell the truth, while millions of white people benefit off of it because they don't have to worry about that curse. They get to have their wife, kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and live and die knowing that they're going to heaven, and they can play on the argument of, well, I just didn't know God. Well, Yah is going to judge them as well, but the bottom line is that it ain't for them to save us. It's for us to save ourselves by obeying God's wonderful and majestic, powerful word. I want to show you how whatever we do in America gets to wherever. This is called the Masked Singer. It was a European idea, stupid ass, excuse my French, idea, of having someone dress up in an outfit and sing, and then everybody guesses who that person is. Well, guess what you think happens? You got a version of it in Europe, you got a version of it in Africa, you got a version of it wherever, right? Exactly. My point is exact. But who do you think are the ones that are doing the singing most of the time? You're Africans, African Americans. That little 40 million of us that are under the curse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Don't understand why. But the reality is, when you compare it to other parts of the earth, we're one of the richest, poorest people in the earth. Do you know the average salary of a Nigerian? A Nigerian. Why did I click Nigeria? Well, whenever someone talks about Africa, they think of South Africa, right? Apartheid. Well, there's apartheid across the whole continent of Africa because it was broken up into different languages: Portuguese, French, German, okay, English, and many others. Dutch, right? Swedish, everywhere. Because the Deuteronomy 28 curse, study it, starting in verse 16 to 68, said what? That another land will come over and take over your continent. No other continent on the earth has been taken over and used like African continent, or as we would call it back in the Bible days, Cush, Ethiopia, Put. But you'll be told by other people that that's not y'all, man. That doesn't apply to you, bro. It does, yo. It does. So when I saw this, I said to myself, I gotta make a part two. Because when you look at shorts and you see all the different videos and you see our beautiful, beautiful African sisters, and you see one thing always in common. We like to dance, dance, dance. I don't even know why this is crap. Don't sleep around boys. The audacity of showing a video where two black men are, and one guy has got his fly unbuttoned looking at another man. Why do you think that video is there? Homosexuality, mother. That's why. That's the That's the Ashkenazi creator pushing that agenda on our people. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay. Why, Lord? Why? Because the curse of the law is still going on, baby. Because the curse of the law ain't stopped. And so, what do you think we are bound to? Dance and dance and dance. Dance to our death. Dance to our death. Dance to our death. Sick. Right? Now, while we dance to our death, we've got the smile on our face. We're trying to dress like hip hoppers. Look at this African. Trying to act like somebody from New York. Trying to dress like the poorest New Yorkers in Brooklyn. Paying for those expensive, worthless clothes from Dolce & Gabbana and all the crap. Shout out to Alpo Martinez and all of the black men who live in New York and talk about getting money and paid in full. All that mess, okay, is there. It's hitting our peoples. As I keep saying, Africa is 100 years behind America. So whatever we do here in America that is considered old, it's just hitting Africa. Look at that. Look at the care. Look at the color of his hair. Wait, we were doing that in the 90s. And what do we see? It's the same argument. Look at old her. This is the girl I was telling you about. And look how obese she is. 25 years old. And her thighs are the size of two men put together. One thigh is the size of an actual man. She has a genetic disorder. For everybody that's overweight, we have a genetic disorder mixed with overeating. Pray for these ladies. Pray for all of us who battle overeating. Why do we overeat? We overeat because we hate our life. Because we're under Deuteronomy chapter 28, yo. And it could be from overeating to sex, from sex to overeating to drugs, all three and more. Study the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16 to 68 said, I'll put curses on your people that weren't even written in this book. I'll put them on you because you disobey Yah, you disobey me. And then they play around with the word Elohim, which is right there you can see Elohim. But the reality is, do they know the Elohim of the word of the Holy God? And the answer is most of us, no. Because what we're doing, songs like Die For You by her, dancing, Chop Life. This right here is chopped and screwed from way back in Houston, back in the early 2000s, Paul Wall. The stuff I'm talking about in 2004, in 2023, 3 weeks ago, comes out in Africa, in South Africa. You see my point? Now, I'm not saying they're 100 years behind us in everything, but it definitely in music, I would say they're about 30 years behind. And we understand why. We understand why. Now, we also understand that the money that's made off of YouTube, which is European, is powerful. Billions of dollars are made off of content creators like myself, but they're pushing content out that's hurting people. I'm a ministry, so again, I don't expect to ever be having 9 million subscribers, but because I look at everything from the standpoint of God's judgment, that what I say has an effect on people's lives, and if I say something incorrect, I'm going to pay for it. So that's why it's God for His mercy. I love our black women. I love our black women in America or here. Because when I look at her, she is exactly like the girls I see here in Atlanta. Only difference is she knows a language that we don't know because we only know King's English, and she knows a language mixed with whatever white European country that colonized them, and she's learning the King's English of America here too. So she's bilingual and I'm not. That's the only difference. Beautiful girl, man. Beautiful. So Lord, I thank you for helping me in this time as we make this blog and talk about this to get reactions, because a lot of us don't even in America understand South African music, Nigerian music, or African music in general, because they're under Deuteronomy 28 like me, but they don't wake up, and they only go to European churches or they go to African churches, African American churches, and they get stuck in one of those two bubbles. I'm either gospel black, or I'm white, but I'm with black skin. I mean, I think white, I think European only, but we still end up in the end of the day hating ourselves, and we still end up in the end of the day wondering why are we going through the things we go through. And then we don't even think about people over in Africa, what they're going through. Not realize they're going through everything like they're just 30 years behind us. So how do we fix Africa? By fixing ourselves here first, because we lead the way for those 1.2 billion people over there, because we are the Hebrew Israelites.